Good day, and welcome to the Government House weekly press briefing and COVID-19 update for the week of November 21st, 2022. For the benefit of the radio listening audience, I am Government House Communications Director Richard Mota. Assistant Commissioner Ruben Malloy is joining me on behalf of Health Commissioner Justa Encarnacion this afternoon for the latest COVID-19 and monkeypox data and information on where Virgin Islands residents can get a COVID-19 test, vaccine, and booster shot, and also information on where and how you can get vaccinated against monkeypox. So at this point, I will turn over the briefing to Assistant Commissioner Malloy. Ruben?
Thank you, Director Mota. Good afternoon, beautiful people of the Virgin Islands, and happy Thanksgiving to all Virgin Islanders. Once again, the Department of Health appreciates the opportunity to share with the public information on a number of public health initiatives that are ongoing. First, let's start with our COVID-19 status. Today, we have a total of 29 active cases territory-wide, 16 on St. Croix, 12 on St. Thomas, and 1 on St. John. Our hospitalizations territory-wide total 2, 1 on St. Croix at the 1 F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center, and 1 on St. Thomas at the Snyder Regional Medical Center. As we mentioned last week, respiratory syncytial virus is still a public health concern. The Virgin Islands Department of Health will be monitoring RSV hospitalizations carefully, but there has been no increase in hospitalizations currently. RSV typically affects children under age 2 years, and symptoms usually include fever, cough, and runny nose. However, the illness can intensify, causing pneumonia and bronchiolitis and the need for hospitalization. Children are not the only people affected. The virus can also affect adults, and severe complications can occur in people with weakened immune systems. COVID-19, influenza, and RSV have similar symptoms, and it is possible to become infected with more than one of these respiratory illnesses at the same time, resulting in worsened outcomes. This is why the Department of Health urges everyone, especially children ages 6 months and older, to get vaccinated against influenza and COVID-19. Unfortunately, there is no vaccine for RSV. COVID-19 and flu vaccines for adults remain available at all Virgin Islands Department of Health community health clinics. The temporary hours for the St. Croix Community Health Clinic are Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. No appointment is needed on St. Croix for a flu vaccine. You can receive both vaccines during the same clinic visit. For adults on St. Thomas, the community health clinic hours are for COVID-19 vaccines, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Individuals seeking a flu vaccine on St. Thomas are asked to call 340-774-7477 to arrange an appointment. Everyone coming to the Virgin Islands Department of Health Community Health Clinic for COVID-19 booster is asked to bring their COVID-19 vaccine card and a photo identification card. Parents wanting COVID-19 and/or flu vaccines for their children aged 6 months and older in either district can obtain these vaccines at the Maternal Child Health Clinic, MCH. Appointments are necessary and can be made by calling 340-244-0016, and on St. Croix, 340-224-0016 on St. Croix, 340-777-8804, extension 2600 on St. Thomas, 340-776-6400 on St. John. All Virgin Islands Department of Health clinics and COVID-19 testing sites throughout the territory will be closed on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, and also on Friday. Testing for COVID is routinely available on St. Croix Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. in the Charles Howard Memorial Parking Lot. On St. Thomas, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at the Snyder Regional Medical Center, loading dock, and on St. John on Wednesdays from 12 noon to 3 p.m. at the Virgin Islands Port Authority gravel lot. We are also happy to report that the territory continues to have no monkeypox cases. Anyone wishing to receive a monkeypox vaccine can telephone 340-690-6301 to arrange an appointment. November is National Diabetes Month, and the Virgin Islands Department of Health would like to advise Virgin Islanders that diabetes is one of the leading non-communicable diseases causing high rates of morbidity and mortality. Diabetes is a disease that occurs when your blood glucose, also called blood sugar, is too high. It currently affects about 37 million Americans, including adults and youth. In closing, the Department of Health wants to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We hope you have a healthy and wonderful day with your loved ones. And as we prepare to spend this special time with family and friends around the Thanksgiving table, the Virgin Islands Department of Health asks everyone to be vigilant about preventing the spread of illnesses. Please practice respiratory hygiene by coughing into your elbows or tissue, frequent hand washing, and staying at home while sick. Thank you very much, and back to you, Director Mota.
Thank you, Assistant Commissioner. Governor Bryan is back in the territory after returning from vacation this weekend, but is scheduled to travel to Washington, D.C. this coming Sunday for a week of meetings in the nation's capital, including meetings with the White House and with officials from HUD. While in Washington, Governor Bryan will also meet with several members of Congress in both chambers to discuss, among several issues, the tax extender for the rum cover over excise, as well as to attend a board meeting for Jobs for America's Graduates, in which the governor serves as vice chair on the organization's National Board of Directors. This is also a short week for most government employees, with Thanksgiving being on Thursday. And so on behalf of Governor Bryan and Lieutenant Governor Roach, I wish you all a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving weekend. I also encourage you to take the time on Thursday to give back in any way that you can. We all have a lot to be thankful for, and so if you are in a position to show your gratitude for all that you are grateful for, I encourage you to share that gratitude for a worthy cause this Thanksgiving. We do have some weather warnings this week. The National Weather Service is advising of a low-pressure system in the area with the potential to bring heavy rainfall this weekend, in particular on Thanksgiving Day. So please exercise caution as you traverse the roadway during the holidays. Use your better judgment and take the necessary precautions to keep you and your family safe. Speaking of things to be grateful for, Governor Bryan has granted administrative leave for all non-essential government employees the day after Thanksgiving, or Friday, November 25th. The governor has also announced the holiday schedule for this year's Crucian Christmas Festival and inaugural activities, and I will go ahead and announce those at this current time. Non-essential government employees are granted administrative leave on Monday, December 26th. That is the day after Christmas, or Boxing Day, as some people recognize it as, and that's territory-wide, since Christmas Day falls on Sunday, December 25th. We will observe the 26th, which is the Monday after Christmas, as the holiday. The same thing applies to New Year's Day. All non-essential government employees are granted administrative leave on Monday, January 2nd, territory-wide, since New Year's Day falls on Sunday, January 1st. On January 2nd, 2023, It also happens to be the day of the governor and lieutenant governor's inauguration in Charlotte Amalie. And so that day is a holiday, as I mentioned earlier. The inauguration then moves to St. John on Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, and the governor has granted administrative leave for residents of St. John on that particular day. So on Tuesday, January 3rd, the governor and lieutenant governor's inauguration and the activities surrounding that inauguration move to St. John, and the governor has granted administrative leave to residents on the island of St. John for that day. Wednesday, January 4th, 2023, the inaugural activities move to St. Croix. Similarly, the governor has granted all non-essential government employees on the island of St. Croix administrative leave on that day. Governor Bryan has also granted administrative leave for non-essential government employees on Thursday, January 5th, for the Juve and food fair activities that will be held on that particular day. And of course, Friday, January the 6th, which is Three Kings Day, is a public holiday here in the territory. And so that is the current holiday schedule here in the territory. And so on behalf of the entire Brian Roach administration and everyone here at Government House, we want to wish everyone a safe and enjoyable holiday season, starting with the Thanksgiving holiday and your day of respite on Friday. So that concludes our press briefing today. I will take any questions from the media now, and I see that we have a few media joining us here virtually, and so I will start with Lasiba Knight from the St. Croix Avis. Go ahead, Lasiba.
Hello, good afternoon. Hi, Rich. My first question is for you, and I'm hoping for an update on the government's response to VTOL. We're approaching, no propane on St. Croix by the 30th. Word is that all hands are on deck and that WAPA is looking for an alternative propane supplier. So I'm hoping for an update on negotiations with VTOL and if we have an alternative.
The governor met with the delegate to Congress this morning with respect to, so as you mentioned, all hands are on deck. So I would like to take this opportunity to assure the public that this situation is being addressed by everyone. And so yes, the governor had a meeting with the delegate to Congress this morning, and not wanting to get too far ahead of the governor. Yes, WAPA is looking at other alternatives, and so they will make an announcement at an appropriate time with respect to whatever updates that they have.
Okay, and then I was just hoping to know, is there maybe like a plan for, rolling blackouts after the 30th or conservation in the lead up to, preserve our propane supplies?
Well, yeah, like I mentioned, I mean, we are working tirelessly to avoid that. I think that is a worst case scenario. There are some contingencies that are in place that I'm not at liberty to discuss right now, but certainly everyone's working feverishly to avoid that worst case scenario.
Awesome. Thank you, Rich. And then I just have a final question. A few months ago, there was an announcement or a press conference held for the signing of a new agreement with VIGL. Work was supposed to begin on the track within a matter of weeks of the signing of that agreement. That has not appeared to happen, really. There's not there's no shovels in the ground, grass is growing on the track. And so we're wondering what holdups there might be. Is it on the government side? Is there an issue with the CZM permit, or?
To the best of my knowledge, all of the, I don't think that there are any delays on the government side of this issue. I can't speak for VIGL, but I could definitely get some more detailed information to you. But to the best of my knowledge, there are no issues. The government committed to appropriating a certain amount of funding for the forward movement of that project, and the government has met its end of the bargain with that regard. And so the project should be moving forward. I'm not aware of any delays that may be, hampering or encumbering that process. I will look into that and give you a more detailed update.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lasiba. Ernest Gilbert from the Virgin Islands Consortium. Go ahead.
Hey, Richard, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, just a follow-up on the WAPA issue there. Of course, you said you don't want to go ahead of the governor there. I had a conversation with him last night. He was hopeful. Do you have any idea of the contents of that meeting with the delegate? Did they come out, and I suspect WAPA might have been on that as well, did they come out of that meeting hopeful that we're going to resolve this matter before it comes to a head?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, I like I just told Lasiba, everyone is working toward avoiding, working very hard toward avoiding that the situation of having rolling blackouts. No one wants that, and everyone feels fairly hopeful that we would come to some type of resolution between the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority and their vendors will come to some sort of amicable resolution to avoid that scenario. And so, yes, we're all hopeful that between now and then that this matter will be resolved.
So I suppose, if I may
in terms of specifics from that meeting, I'm not at liberty to discuss that at this point.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask about specifics, but I suppose if you know the contents thereof, what I was trying to get out of the question is whether the government felt as if, they were moving in the right direction. So yes, we all could be hopeful, but then it could turn out a different way. But whether with preliminary talks or wherever the conversations may be, whether the government and its stakeholders, so WAPA, the delegate to Congress, thought that we were on the right track to resolving this before it gets bad.
So I would go out on a limb and say that I think communication is the issue here. I think that the vendor wants to feel that they will be made whole at some point. How they interpret them being made whole may be a matter for debate, and I think that that's something that the vendor and the Water and Power Authority have to work out. And so yes, I would go out on a limb and say that I think that a amicable resolution can be reached between all parties involved, and that we would avoid the scenario that we all don't want to see happen.
All right, Richard, thank you.
Thank you, Ernest. We have another, the Virgin Islands Daily News. I'm not sure which reporter. Go ahead.
Carlson. Good afternoon, can you hear me?
Hey, yes, go ahead, Suzanne.
Is the government going to continue subsidizing WAPA at $4 million a month? And is that payment going to have to increase given the current financial constraints?
As I mentioned, I don't want to get too far ahead of the governor in any types of particulars. I can say, though, that the government is going to continue its situation to provide relief to the ratepayers. That's the government's priority, and so as long as we can do that, that is what the government is focused on. If that answers your question.
Does the government have any comment on the situation with the refinery and the potentially imminent danger it poses to residents?
The refinery is not in operation at this current point. The EPA has made its assessment, and we are working with Port Hamilton to ensure that they do the things that are necessary to ensure the safety of the community whenever they do decide to bring this refinery up. And of course, I will take this time to reiterate that, the health and safety of the community is the administration's absolute and foremost priority here. And so, we have just been making sure that all of the steps that need to be taken to ensure the health and safety of the community are all of those I's and all of those T's are dotted.
Okay. I've heard that the BVI charter agreement doesn't really do anything to help Virgin Islands charter businesses obtain the licenses needed to enter the BVI, because that process takes months. So does this agreement still leave some kind of disparity between BVI and USVI charter companies?
I think the important thing with that agreement is it's a work in progress. The two governments have come to an agreement that they will begin to, look at how they can make this type of the industry and the people who participate in the industry, how they can make it more easier for the travelers and also for the individuals who run these charters, how they can make it easier for them to do business and how we can make it easier for our tourists to enjoy, the amenities that our islands have to provide. And so it's still a work in progress, but I think that we are off to a good start in at least beginning the conversation and starting to do the necessary things to see how we can, improve this industry.
Okay. Is there any update on the surveillance equipment found in government offices?
Oh, no, not at this time. The last update that I have is that it's still an ongoing investigation rather, sorry. And so that's the latest information that I have, but I can provide, I can look into it and get an update from VIPD to share with you at a later juncture.
Okay, and I still haven't received my open records request.
Open records requests on, on what specific open records request?
On the money, the taxpayer money the government spent on the 2021 trip to Colorado.
Okay, I'll look into that as well, sir. Suzanne, sorry.
Great, thanks.
Don Buchanan from the Virgin Islands Source.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Most of my questions have been answered, but I had a question. Did Andrew Smith attend the meeting today with the delegate and the governor?
No. CEO Smith was not a party to that meeting.
As there are regular conversations going on with him then?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted.
Thank you, Don. I think that's it for our media who's joining us virtually. With that, I would like to say thank you for joining us this afternoon. Next week, like as I mentioned earlier, the governor will be in Washington, D.C. attending meetings with officials from HUD, the White House, and members of Congress. I will be joining the governor on that trip. And so stay tuned for a decision on next Monday's press briefing. We may do it from Washington, D.C., but in the interim, thank you for joining us this afternoon and enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. Be safe. Take care.